Welcome to EP Wealth Advisors celebration of World Financial Planning Day on October 7th this year of 2020. It's a larger part of the World Investor Week, which is from October 5th to October 11th. And the main purpose of this week and this day specifically is to raise awareness about financial planning, having a financial plan, and working with an ethical financial planner who will take your interests first as they create a financial plan for you. This time we're with our CFP board ambassador, Erin Voisin. She's our director of financial planning. She has quite a few designations, so let's see if I can get them right. She is a certified financial planner, obviously. She has her master's in tax. She's a chartered divorce financial analyst. She's a chartered financial consultant. And Erin, are there any more that I've missed? Are you an enrolled agent as well? An enrolled agent. All right. So there's quite a few. We're very lucky to have Erin here. Erin, welcome.
Hello, excited to be here, excited to talk about a lot of planning items. This is a day that I think a lot of us in the CFP world are pretty excited about. It's really the first time we're embracing it, truly, I think, as a CFP board, largely because in the past, these are meetings we used to do in person. So across the world, across the country, we would sort of put on speed dating for financial planning events. And with the COVID-19 pandemic and not being able to be in person, this is the next best thing. So it's exciting to see that it's being done virtually.
Right. So Erin, thank you so much for that. This is obviously a very important year. So to help do this, Erin and her team at the financial planning department have put together the 10 financial planning items for 2020. So Erin, are you ready to go through the 10?
But
all right, let's do it. Number 1. Roth conversions in 2020 due to the CARES Act. Talk to me.
So, with all the changes that even happened as a result of the CARES Act that passed last year and then the CARES Act sort of compounding on top of it, it really made Roth conversions a little more attractive because this year in particular with the CARES Act, they waived the R&D requirement. So if you had to take your required minimum distributions, you now have the ability to say, hey, I don't need it. But psychologically, most people were prepared to take it, were prepared to pay the taxes. So we kind of said to those people, just because you don't need it, let's still do it and convert it to Roth. So now you've created a tax-free asset.
Nice. All right, let's keep going. Number 2, advanced estate planning and leveraging your exemption. What does that even mean?
So hot topic right now, especially as we get closer and closer to the election. Right now the exemption is $11.58 million per person. Depending on how this election goes, there's a lot of speculation that if Biden wins, that exemption may go down dramatically. So you're seeing a lot of high net worth individuals sort of rush to do some advanced planning just to make sure that they can still take advantage of the exemption at where it is now.
Okay. All right. Great. Financial planning item number 3, reviewing property and casualty insurance in light of all the national disasters.
Yeah, unfortunately between, the tornadoes that hit the Midwest, the fires that are raging in, the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, California, we have hurricane season kind of kicking in early down south. I think it's really just made everyone want to make sure that they're insured properly. And that they don't have any surprises if, God forbid, these natural disasters continue at the pace they are.
Right. Okay, so number 4, we have like a kind of a pairing to that advanced estate planning. We have reviewing and updating basic estate documents. What does that mean?
So we saw, I think, a huge influx to this as soon as the COVID pandemic hit, because I think everyone sort of felt like I could be next. I don't know if this is going to affect me. I better make sure the proper documents are in place so that if something does happen, people can make financial decisions, healthcare decisions on my behalf, and that my wishes ultimately, if should I pass away, are executed properly.
All right, number 5, right? And it sounds like there's a lot of different reasons for this. Talk to me about the emergency fund.
Again, 2020, I think, shook people when it came to cash. I think you watched people see their assets drop because of market volatility. You saw, people lose their jobs. You saw people get furloughed, laid off. So I think for that, it was really just hey, I need to be prepared for the unexpected. The reason number one why we tell people to have an emergency fund, have that rainy day money set aside.
Yeah.
I think people actually had to finally use rainy day fund this year. So realizing the importance of having it.
Right. Okay. Well, my dog was obviously very excited about that one. So she wants to make sure that you have your emergency fund. All right. Number 6, right? And this kind of ties back into one of the earlier financial planning list topics that you were talking about. Actually, a couple of them. So mixing Roth conversion with estate planning due to the Secure Act. How is that different than those two things? And could you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, so why this is a little different is the Secure Act changed. When you leave an IRA to a beneficiary, they used to be able to take those withdrawals over their lifetime. So they had to take distributions, but it was stretched over a longer period of time. Secure Act came in and said, hey, guess what? Now those assets have to be distributed within 10 years. So that obviously changes for people that have a large amount of their estate in qualified assets. Mm-hmm. You've now just compounded the tax impact to your heirs tremendously. So you saw people saying, hey, I might historically be in a lower tax bracket than they will ever be. So does it make sense for me to pay the taxes versus them? It's really sort of a play on how much do you want to leave your heirs and how much less in taxes do you want them to absorb?
Okay. Number 7, life insurance review.
Again, I think just with the pandemic, I think people just realized, I would say between the pandemic and even natural disasters, just I want my family to be protected. If God forbid the worst should happen, is my family going to be financially okay if I'm not here?
Right. Sounds like just that peace of mind that we talk about so often. So number eight, Social Security strategy.
Social Security strategy, I think, is always an important one. And I think, we generally tell people, hey, delay your Social Security and get that 8% compounded, return from full retirement age to age 70, because that's a guaranteed return and the market may not do as well. Well, I think this year the market didn't do as well. So I think people are really realizing, okay, what assets do I need to draw on to be most efficient with that, return rate that I'm getting? Right.
Okay, number 9, and I would love for you to define what this is before you give the explanation of why it's important. I know what it is, but I want to make sure you give a little bit of clarity, because I do think this is a really crucial piece. So number 9, distribution planning. What is it and why is it important?
So distribution planning is, you've retired, you have all these different assets. Which bucket of assets are you pulling from to maximize your taxes efficiently? So you might have qualified assets, so IRA money, maybe 401k. You have your after tax. Yep. You have after tax money, maybe a brokerage account or a trust account. Then you might have Roth. Then you possibly have fixed income, Social Security, pensions, deferred compensation. How does that all blend together to provide you the best distribution plan, but that is also tax efficient? Let's make sure we're maximizing these low tax brackets we're in now and pulling from the right bucket. So that's really what distribution planning is.
And talk to me about why it's so important right now.
I think it's important now. It's important all the time, but right now in particular, we are in historically low tax brackets. We don't know what the future holds. We anticipate always that taxes will go up. So if you are in low tax brackets now, it would somewhat make sense to take from those qualified assets and pay ordinary income tax now in these low tax brackets and save your lower tax items for later when taxes might be higher. So you're sort of gaming the future and what you think tax brackets will be.
Okay. In a very related note, so this is a good transition. I'm glad you gave this list to me in this order. Number 10 is tax planning. So talk to me a little bit how that's a little bit different than distribution planning and why it's so important right now.
Tax planning is important for everyone. Whether or not you're in distribution planning, it's just, we have people that were laid off, they were furloughed, you had stimulus checks come in that were based on, different years' tax returns. People are withdrawing money from different accounts, which could be affecting how much they pay in Medicare. I mean, your taxes really dictate so much of your life. And given what people have experienced this year, the 2020 tax preparation is really going to be an interesting time. I mean, you're seeing new forms are going to be out. I'm anticipating that 1099s might be wrong. People that took their RMD and then gave it back. Is their 1099 going to be correct? How are they going to code that? People that took hardship distributions, are they paying it in 1 year, or are they paying those taxes over 3 years, or paying it back? This year has caused, I think, a lot of questions that need answers, and it all comes back to taxes.
That's fantastic. Erin, are there any other things that you want to say now that we've finished this 10 financial planning tips for 2020 that you would like to add about the World Financial Planning Day before we sign off?
I would just really encourage people to go out and do a financial plan. I mean, it sounds painful. It sounds like a lot of work. You might not like the results the first time you hear them, but ultimately it's going to save you in the long run. It's going to save you, it's going to give you the peace of mind, that we always talk about, but it's just so important to do financial planning.
Oh, that's a great message. Erin, thank you so much. For our listeners, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to your EP Wealth Advisor. Erin runs the financial planning department that supports every single financial advisor at the firm. So we'll be happy to address any questions, because any one of those top 10, topics can go into way, way, way more detail. And thank you so much for celebrating World Financial Planning Day. Feel free to subscribe to the blog or to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to sharing more with you soon.